They assemble at night, each one having prepared as diligently as possible for the time given to them before the witching hour, the hour of reckoning, the time when they begin outdoor cartoon television. Stray Casts is on the air.
Good evening, glory, and hallelujah to you. What the heck's your story and what's going through you? This is the glorified version of a Bass and Talk Show. I'm your host, Pat Renwick. Give it up for yourself, Bass Galaxy. It's a Wednesday night. Hello. 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 We're feeling good. The Bassmaster Elite Series is almost upon us, and things are getting crunchy around here. You know who else is crunchy? My co-host over there, the one and only Ryan Cornelius Whitaker.
I'm crunchy.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. It just fit.
It's
crunch time. You're walking on sunshine, Ryan Whitaker.
I wish.
Man, it's been a while since you caught a bass, hasn't it?
Yeah,
There's something a man always remembers. The last time he made whoopee and the last time he caught a bass. Two things a man always remembers.
I do remember my last one. It was a good one.
Yeah, there you both of them.
Yeah.
Hey, well, welcome back, Ryan Whitaker. We had a week off, and now we're back at this, and we have a very cool guest. We're sticking on that positivity train.
Yeah.
We tried to get this guy in on Positivity December, but here we are on the cusp of the Sunshine State swing. And how apropos to bring to you, Bass Galaxy, Scott Martin tonight. How's that? Yes. I got serious and I stayed by the mic. Did I do okay?
Top 10 in positivity.
Top 10 in positivity. Yes, that's 100%. For sure. With Brandon and Gus and a whole slew of others.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of amazingness right here in a slew of positivity, the one and only best dang producer in bass fishing. He's red on the head, just like you heard a producer should be. He's Andrew Ellenberger, and he's a ginger ninja. Ciao! Wow. Where's Gingy?
Yo, I'm here.
Oh, hey, Ginge. Hey, where are we? Wait, we were expecting sirens and laser beams. There you are.
There you go.
How you feeling, Ginge?
Pretty good.
Yeah, you
pretty good.
Yeah, you
pretty good.
You were in the wrong place at the wrong time last week, and but you're living to tell about it.
Yeah, we made it.
Yeah, you're here and ready for bass fishing.
That I am.
And hey, that hockey's a dangerous sport, buddy.
It'll get you. Yeah, you got to watch out. Keep your head up.
If you want to see some cool pictures, Andy will DM you some personal photos if you want to see what happened to Andy.
From this incident or the one?
No, the last one where he blew up, where it's like a puffer fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, enjoy.
He's got a puffer fish in his britches.
He's not only red on the head.
You are awesome. Hey, want to remind everybody on the chat board, we are fortunate to have the one and only Rock and Shoal Fantasy. Yeah, he's all part of your Rock and Shoal Fantasy. And here's what you do tonight, folks. Then some questions. We'll ask Scott some questions from the chat board later. But do this. Like and share the live Facebook feed. And guess what happens? Guess what could possibly happen? We put your name in a randomizer. And at the end of the show, we're going to give away not one, but two prizes tonight. The first, a fun box of Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey to your door. Give it up. Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey right to your door.
I just wrote down fun box.
Did you write fun box down?
I did.
Nice. I love fun boxes.
Don't want to forget.
The next deal is, get ready for this. Like and share the live Facebook feed. Mr. Scott Martin himself is going to personal item from his home. Tackle and something personal. It could be a wooden spoon from 1976 from Grandma's Kitchen. You don't know. Scott's giving it away. Like and share the live Facebook feed. At the end of the show, Scott's going to call your name. You could be the lucky member of the Bass Galaxy that wins a Scott Martin prize pack. How do you like that? How do you like that?
I love it for the people.
It's brand
I
new.
want to win it, though.
I know. Well, you can enter.
Yeah.
You can enter.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's an
dude,
asterisk.
speaking of entering, guess who is now entering the Stray Cast family of advertisers?
I know.
New Kids on the Block had a bunch of hits. Chinese food makes me sick, but these guys don't.
Yes.
Who is it?
Mad Science Print Lab.
Mad Science Print Lab.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Give it up.
Yeah. Super stoked to have those guys on board. They cover all printing, printing, embroidery, custom patches, DTF transfers.
DTF transfers.
Yeah.
I like those.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's all the rage. But yeah, if you've got an event, a company, need something personally printed, whatever, give them a shout. They'll print it for you. You focus on your brand. They'll
And
focus on your merch.
they'll focus on your merch. Hashtag DTF. That's what I'm putting on
That's
there.
right.
Hey, but get this.
Hey,
What's-
custom fishing jerseys too.
Absolutely.
They just started doing them. And
They
they're-
have the jerseys,
Yep.
and you said it too, patches, man. Remember how cool? Like Scott
Yes.
Martin sent us an Instagram video yesterday of him wearing his grandfather's, not his pops, but his grandfather's Durban jacket.
field staff.
Field
jacket.
staff. That was the predecessor of Field.
That was my
Tester.
favorite part of it.
Yeah, I
Field
mean,
staff.
amazing stuff. And hey, Mad Science Print Lab, they make patches, they make hats, they
Yes.
make shirts, jerseys, hoodies, the whole deal. Check them out, madscienceprintlab.com.
Yes.
There it is, right there. Tell them that Ryan and the popcorn puppet. Hold up the popcorn puppet.
Oh,
yeah, popcorn puppet sent you. You got a monitor now.
Yeah, I don't know where to look now.
You're so confused over
It's
there.
crazy. can actually see
And
things.
welcome aboard. Whoa! Look at this. Look at this. There he is. He's from an undisclosed location, somewhere in a bunker in Indianapolis, Indiana, and it's Luke Foley, the whiskey gypsy. You're not sipping on gin and juice, but you
I'm not.
got an old fashioned.
Sipping on the new 10 cup bourbon we just came out with.
You are fancy. You are fancy. Look at you over there.
How you guys doing?
We're doing good, man. It's
Doing all right.
snowstorm and blizzard here in Chicago tonight.
Yeah, we got some ice down here. So
Yeah, it's a wintry, brisk evening here.
You got some ice and you're getting some snow.
At the same
That's
time,
right.
keeping that Manhattan cool with the bourbon. Hey, Foles,
Topical.
Yeah.
get this, bud. Get this. We got some cool stuff going on. All right. Now, you're a Berkeley guy. You're on the Berkeley team, so we brought you in for this. Now, I'm gonna get in trouble. You ready? Should I do it, guys? I can't. Hold on.
Can't do it.
You see, I
Don't-
can't. What's in here
Don't tell people.
is the brand new Crawdads
Ugh.
from Berkeley. And guess what, Ryan? They come in the cheat code. They
I
come in
know.
Maxcent.
I
They
know.
come in Maxcent. Okay, these are the brand new Maxcent Craws. Now, if you look here, let me show them to you in the see that? Whoop! You can't see nothing, can you? Whoop! Here's another one. Look at this. There's two different shapes. Here's the other shape. See that? Can't see nothing, can you?
When are these going to be available for purchase?
Hey, wait till you see next week the Bass Galaxy and the entire intranet webs on the medias of social is going to get blown up with the
Yeah.
brand new cheat craw. Like John Cox is so excited about these things right now. He's even smashing redfish on them,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
like just to fish them. They're good, dude. You saw them, Foley.
I did.
You were
I
here
did.
the other day. You saw them.
Yeah, I saw them.
You
They
saw
look
'em.
nice.
You will now need
They
no
filled the
other
gaps.
trailer except Maxent.
They
Just put
filled
it-
the gaps.
They did. They filled
Yep.
the gaps with this one. So coming out next week, look, February 17. The jig is up. The news is out. The brand new Berkeley Maxent Craws, two new shapes. Can't even say the names of them. Not allowed. Strictly
Mm.
prohibidabadidoed.
Mm.
That's it. Speaking of non-prohibidabadidoed, you know what runs all day and don't prohibit nothing, Foley? Impulse lithium batteries. I mean, running and gunning and looking for a dang good time all day, bud.
All day.
All day, impulselithium.com and tournament rewards package.
Tournament rewards.
Yeah, from Bill
Do
and
not
Darlene.
forget $500 a tournament.
Might as well. I know Palanik's always racking up on impulse.
Yeah, man, it's
500
free.
here, 500 there.
It's free. Get an
500
impulse,
there.
and then any win over, I think, 50 boats, $500.
Kaboom, kapow. Hey, the official brown liquor of bass fishing is Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey, and Luke Foley comes on this show every week to tell us a little bit about Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey and give us the Tin Cup Whiskey word of the week. And when you hear this word that he gives you, you take a little sippy sip. You could sip whatever you want. It could be a Coca-Cola. It could be a Cafe Con Leche, or, of course, Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey. And when you sip, have a dang good time sipping, and sip responsibly, please. So, Foles, what's the Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey word of the week?
What the guests you got coming on tonight? Let's go with Florida.
Florida? Okay, why not? And then how
Florida.
about Scott Martin? And then if Ryan just starts screaming "son," because that's what Roland always says.
Sun would be.
Ryan keeps drinking the tin cup.
That'd
He's
be a
just
good one,
back
too.
there Going,
If
son,
he says sun, drink twice.
son. But
Two drinks if we say field staff again. after this.
there it is. So anything to do with Florida or
Yeah.
anything with bass fishing, take a sip and sip responsibly. And Foley, you're gonna call the people off if they need you, right? Just slip in.
Yeah, it's
Foley's
going to be a
DM.
snow day for a lot of the country, anyways. Tomorrow, I have a feeling. So
Yeah,
let's
exactly.
get wild.
Might as
tonight.
well get tin cupped up,
Yeah,
so to speak.
Ready?
yeah.
So to
Field
speak.
staff.
Field staff. There it is, right there.
Absolutely. The new bourbon.
So get this, Foley, you can win the Scott Martin prize. Like and share the live Facebook feed. Scott's going to announce the winner, some Scott Martin tackle and a personal item from his house. And then also, of course, you can't win this. Or actually, that might save you money. If you just enter yourself, Foley, and then you did win, you wouldn't have to ship nothing out.
That's true.
Yeah. That's
That wouldn't be any fun, though.
Bada bing,
Yeah.
bada boom.
Zada bitty boom. But anyway, like and share the live Facebook feed at the end of the show. Chance for the Tin Cup box of fun, the fun box, and also Scott Martin prize pack. Hey, good luck to all our horses in the race tomorrow at the Opens.
Yeah, yeah.
And pretty cool that Ricky Clunn's hitting the open trail. It's like,
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
bud. Yeah, that's
Oh,
his
yeah.
deal this year.
Awesome.
He retired to the hardest league possible.
Yeah. Let's retire to a bigger challenge. I'm Rick Clunn.
Well, Rick Clunn can do whatever Rick Clunn wants.
You're
I know.
dang
He's-
right.
yeah.
You're dang right. Hey, you know
I ain't
what?
betting against him.
Speaking of all that, let's put the power poles down, pull the trolling motor up, and just sit right here for a minute.
I got excited.
Let's soak it
I
in.
thought we were putting the troll motor down and going somewhere.
No. We're sitting right here and we're waiting
All right.
because our bud, Scott Martin, he'll be back after these misses. Hey, Wolves. See you soon, bud.
All right, see you guys.
See you, buddy.
There you go. Don't
Have
go
a good
nowhere,
night.
Gas Galaxy. Coming right back.
There's a moment when you're faced with a challenge, and just solving the problem isn't good enough, even if that means breaking the rules and shredding apart conventional ways of thinking, all in the name of creating something truly remarkable. With this much control at its command, we didn't stop with just one. We created two incredible trolling motors. Introducing the new Power Pole Move brushless trolling motor.
This is the mountain, and this is mountain whiskey. Unspoiled, untamed, forever wild. There's no safety net, no way down. Up here, it's just man, and the mountain, and his tin cup. Tin Cup Whiskey. Mountain whiskey.
Omnia Premium Pro gives you the confidence to eliminate dead water on thousands of lakes across the U.S. Exclusively on the Omnia app, use 10 unique data layers containing critical real-time mapping information to see water temperature, water clarity, contours, lake bed hardness, and important weather data all in one place. Matched with Omnia's loyalty credit program on all your tackle and gear needs, this is the only app you need in your arsenal for success on the water.
That's a pretty good one.
Based in Chicago, Illinois, Tightrope Fishing has been designing and producing high-quality tackle for over a decade. Creators of the Baby Fireworks Super Jig, Bite Getter Spinnerbait, and more, Tightrope products are made by actual bass anglers that understand the need for tested and proven baits that catch fish. Tightrope products are available at tightropefishing.com and your favorite online tackle retailers.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, buddy.
Realize your boat's potential with outboard performance accessories that improve the handling, speed, and economy of your boat. Find your perfect accessory from Bob's Machine.
Welcome back. This is the glorified version of a Bass and Talk Show. Hey, want to remind everybody, OmniaFishing.com, the Premium Pro app, it's legal info right now. OmniaFishing.com, Premium Pro app, and the All Hair Extravaganza going on.
All Hair Pro Team.
All Hair Pro Team.
Get those submissions in.
OmniaFishing.com and the Insta page. Submit the submissions. And what did you hear that?
I heard something.
The helicopter is landing. Ladies and gentlemen,
Jurassic Park.
the time has arrived. This time for the return of bass fishing icon of the Straight Cash Show. We're proud to bring to you Bass Galaxy, the one and only Mr. Scott Roland Martin. Yes.
Are you in there?
Are you? Give me an internet high five, Scott.
Are you in there?
It's me. How are you?
What's that?
Yes, my long lost brother. How are you?
Woo! I'm fired up now. I just had me some coffee.
Me too. People think this is tin cup, but it's actually very strong Mexican coffee, Cafe Bustelo. Actually,
Ooh,
you know
good.
that.
Like,
Yeah, they got it at the Dollar Street down the street in Clues.
oh, that's great.
Dollar General. You know what I mean? Hey,
Oh,
you
yeah.
kind of look like there's a picture of you in the background. You kind of look like Fred Rambanis a little bit in that picture from here.
Oh, the one back here? Yeah.
It's a little. You kind of resemble Freddie Boom Boom, even though you really don't at all.
Just the
but
angle.
Yeah, it's just the. Oh, now there's Scott Martin. There's
That's
Scott.
when I had a beard. That was a bad idea.
Yeah. We all do that in the north in the winter. You know what I mean?
Now, what's funny about the beard thing? So I did this beard thing for about a year, and I grew it out a little bit. My wife was like, "I kind of like it," and I was like, "I'm going with it." She likes it. I'm going with it.
Often
Well,
heard.
so I sported this beard, and I had some gaps in the beard where it didn't fill in real good.
Okay.
So I bought that stuff that you color, the hair color. So I went to the store and I thought I'll get that just for men beard thing. And so I thought, I've never tried this before. I didn't have any advice on what to do, and I bought the wrong color, and it turned it black. It was a black beard basically, and
pirate now.
You look like
yeah,
Hulk
right
Hogan.
after that. Here's the worst part. Right after that, Live Target said, "Hey, we want to put your picture on this frog. We need to get a picture of you real quick, so we can put on the package of this frog that we're selling." And so there's a picture out there of me and this Live Target frog, and I'm in a full black beard. It doesn't look like me. It's the craziest thing ever, dude. And so yeah, it's there forever. It's floating around the universe. There it's me in this crazy black Italian looking beard.
That's awesome.
Terrible idea.
Scotty the Black.
I gotta find one of those baits now.
Yeah,
just
that's
for-
got to be
I know.
worth.
That's a collector.
That's
item.
got to be worth something. You're at home in the compound right now. You in Clewiston?
I am home. I am T-minus 2 days, I guess. We've sat around, and I say sat around lightly, but we've been getting ready, and you look at your schedule. Oh, we have 2 weeks. We have a week, and now we're down to 2 days. And Lou's just sent me my rods for the year, which is awesome. So I got a bunch of rods, and I got to rig those up. And so I'm going to play tackle after we get off the podcast tonight. I'm playing tackle out here in my office, and I got to rig up about 20 rods
later in the show.
What's that?
Maybe we could play tackle together a little later in the show. I have a segment perfect for that.
We may have to play tackle for sure. I have to put new line on everything, and my new boat just came in. It hasn't been in the water yet. It's wrapped. Everything's ready to go. So tomorrow I need to put it in the water, start the engine. Do all that kind of stuff. Nothing like waiting to the day before you have to leave to go do all this stuff.
Well, it's not like you said sitting around, because you certainly do not sit around. You're sort of like the James Brown of bass fishing, if you know what I mean. Like, you're the hardest working man in bassing at times. You know what I mean? You jump back. Whoa.
Yeah, it's fun. It is funny when I'm in the office. I hired a new guy named Corbin, and McCoy still works with us too. But Corbin's been in the office, and he was like blown away. You're in the office, and the phone just constantly is ringing, and things that we're working on all the time. So yeah, I made a couple comments to him recently. I'm like, yeah, I bet you had no idea, right? You thought I was just fishing, coming in, chilling on the couch, just kind of waiting for the next fishing trip. But far from that.
Using crackers, you know what I mean? Hey, does McCoy boss Corbin around? Does he get a little bossy with the new guy?
Oh yeah. McCoy's very particular, and he definitely has a short fuse when it comes to like all that kind of stuff. But he's good. He's up in North Carolina right now, so he's bouncing back between North Carolina and down here, and he'll travel on the road with us. Of course, all the tournaments.
Sure, absolutely, man. Hey, all the tournaments, 25 plus years. That's nuts, dude.
Yeah.
You ever like?
I mean, pretty crazy.
You've been at this a little bit. Of course, everyone knows you come from Bassin royalty. All right, but it does, like, you could have a gentleman who's a professional baseball player. Their son's not always going to end up being a pro baseball player. You could, but
that's right.
You picked that path. You picked that path. Isn't that wild? I mean,
it is wild because, to be honest with you, my dad didn't push fishing on me. It wasn't like he sat there and groomed me and said, hey, like, this is what you need to do to become a professional fisherman. And, here's the advice I give you, son. I think you should do this and this and this. And I followed that path. It's not at all what happened. Kind of crazy. I just, of course, love fishing. It's in my blood. My mom was a tournament angler before my mom and dad even married. And so, I get it honestly from both sides. That jacket you saw me wear, check this out.
That's badass.
I love it.
Yes.
Paul's Valley, baby. Paul's Valley, Oklahoma Bass Club.
That is amazing.
That's all these patches. And he had all these top 10. He's top 10 every day. Every day he's top 10.
Gosh dang year.
I know.
That's amazing.
Doesn't even go by
This is
year.
cool.
Days.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day top 10. He gets out of bed. He's like, yeah, every day. Every day.
The alarm goes off top 10.
That's outstanding. You're gonna wear that to a dirt?
Yeah, I'm gonna sport it this tournament for sure. I need a little motivation for this elite here on Okeechobee for sure. But yeah, my grandfather, he fished, and so anyways, my dad didn't groom me. He didn't like push me. He didn't open up doors for me. Like, I just enjoyed the sport. I enjoyed fishing. I played in the shop, at night, rigging tackle and messing around, and started fishing, at a young age, obviously, and I think my biggest advantage, when you think of it, like people, oh, your dad's, Roland Martin, you have this big advantage. Like I said, he didn't groom me. He didn't give me some life experience lessons, or, obviously he's not putting fish in the live well for me. But I think the biggest advantage I had was that I did have access to tackle, good tackle. And I had access to, I remember at 15 years old, I was able to take the bass tracker out, on my own and kind of fish a little bit. And the very first tournament I fished here on the lake, I fished it with another friend of mine. I didn't fish with my dad. I didn't fish it with another adult. Me and another buddy that was 15 signed up and fished in the tournament. So I started fishing tournaments on this lake with just my peer group of friends that I had. So, Dad was gone. Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. So
I brought that up, Scott, because I remember you telling us the first time you were on this show, that your dad did not push you. And I wanted the whole Bass Galaxy. I wanted to reiterate on that you chose this path. It wasn't your dad going, "This is what you're doing, son. You got no choice. Now go to your room and read Bassmaster."
Yep.
Didn't happen.
That's right.
You chose it.
Yeah, you're right, Pat, because it's back then it was different too, because my dad was gone a bunch. And there was this before cell phones, before the internet. I didn't talk to him when he was on the road. It's just not how we did things back then. My dad didn't call in. Like I talk to my kids all the time, but I don't remember my dad ever calling going, "Hey, son, I just wanted to say hi. I hadn't talked to you in a way." Like he was off doing tournaments and then off to another tournament, off on a, I'm not upset about it, but he wasn't around pretty much most of the time. He was gone. So I had the love and I just did it myself, and I'm glad it happened that way, to be honest with you.
You know how one thing you told me on a past episode, and I knew at that moment that you actually loved bass fishing, that it was in your heart. And you said, "Yeah, Pat, I used to just pretend to have my own TV show in the driveway." I remember you said you had like some old camera or something, and you were like, "Oh, I'm just playing TV show." You know what I mean? You loved it.
I did. My mom had a camcorder that took a full size VCR tape. The VCR tapes back in the day, like you did in a VCR, was a full size tape. It took a full, it was a shoulder one. The thing was humongous. It looked like a professional. It was just a cheap little Panasonic little home movie camera, and she gave it to me. It had a case and everything. And we would go out on the lake and pretend we're Bill Dance, and my buddy would be Johnny Morris, and we'd have Jimmy Houston, and we were out there waiting around. There's clips of I have this on tape. Like I need to get all this digitized and put it on YouTube.
Sure, dude.
It would be freaking hilarious, dude. Like hilarious. But I had long hair. I had long hair. I rode skateboards. I had holes in my jeans. I listened to Metallica, and I'm out there bass fishing.
You gotta love it, and nobody else was the king of Clewiston but you. You were ruling. That's amazing, dude. And it all leads up to this, but I want to go back here. I did a little digging in the Bass archives, and I looked back to 1998, and they have that listed as your first BASS tournament.
All right, keep talking. I'm going to get it real quick. I actually have it right here.
1998. It's listed as a Florida Invitational. Kid comes in, smashes 7th place, and brings home $5K. 98 in your 20s. That's a lot of money for. Well, look what you got. There it is.
Oh, that's a great plaque.
Yes, look at that classic Bassmaster plaque.
Things.
Amazing.
I had some friends come over today in my office, and I have trophies here behind us, and I'll show you guys some of that here in a little bit. Maybe that'd become a part neat, cool little segment. But I showed this to them. This was my very first tournament, just like you said, my very first Bassmaster on Lake Okeechobee, 7th place. And it's funny. I told the guy today when I was telling him about it, I said I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. Like, I knew how to throw a worm, a Charlie's worm at that. Charlie's worms was a worm that was made here in Clewiston. I threw a 10-inch Charlie's worm. I threw a spinnerbait, and that was it. I didn't know how to do anything else. I didn't know how to crank anything. I do nothing. That's what I did right there.
And for those listening on the podcast tomorrow, that is just a vintage plaque, a straight old, like a walnut type plaque with a gold little plate on it and a cool Bassmaster etched steel logo. Pretty badass, Scott. And $5K. What'd you spend the $5K on? You remember that? You got the plaque.
Man, I don't remember that at all. I really don't. But it was, back then it was a lot of money. I mean, think about it. To be honest with you, 98 5K is probably like winning 30 grand now.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I know. Knowing me, I was pretty wild back then. So I don't know. I probably spent it on beer and went to the Keys and went fishing and spent it on gas and boats. I don't even know.
Metallica snake bit tickets.
Hey,
new skateboard.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Popcorn's in
Hey,
it. Look at
I can't let the skateboarding thing go.
Yeah, go on.
I'm a big skateboarder. Did you skate like seriously back in the day? Like,
Yeah, so I thought I was skating seriously, and my
Okay.
friend had built a quarter pipe, and so I would run up on the quarter pipe and hit the pipe and come down, and I'd grind an axle or two up to the top, but I never was real good. And then the half nobody had a half pipe around here, so I never could experience that. But I would, I'd ride around. I was pretty basic. We didn't have skate parks here in Clewiston. It's pretty much a farming community, so I got weird looks. But I stopped skating because one summer I would ride my skateboard to school, and a friend of mine had a moped, and he was riding his moped, and I was hanging on the back of his moped on my skateboard, and we got going about 35 miles an hour, and that thing started wobbling, and I fell off and broke my leg, and that was kind of the end of my skateboard thing. So I kind of gave it up after that.
I feel like we all, until YouTube started, every skateboarder made that mistake. It's like 30 miles an hour. Here come the speed wobbles. And
Yeah.
you're done.
Oh my gosh, it was bad. It was right before summer too. The school was about to get out, and I had to go into summer wearing a cast. It was terrible.
It's the worst.
Terrible.
It was so hard to use a flipping stick too, with that cast sticking out like that all summer.
I broke each arm twice, like in my youth as a fisherman. That was a bummer.
When I was in high school, I played some different sports. I wrestled for a little while, but I never did do football. They wanted me to play football. I didn't do baseball much. I did golf, and I did wrestling. I got out of wrestling pretty quick because I found out about the ear thing. Like I started like, this is again before the internet, and I'm like, what's these freaky looking ears these dudes have sometimes? And the coach is like, that's called cauliflower ear. That's what you get, when you wrestle and everything. And I'm like, nah, I think I'm on.
Or you get scabies on your back.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. But
Brandon Kalanick has cauliflower ear still to this day.
I haven't. I didn't notice it.
He just wears a hat, Scott. Next time you see Brandon, say, "Hey, we heard on Straight Cast you're a wrestler and you have cauliflower ear," and just look.
I wonder what weight limit was he in? Probably like a 155, 165. He had to be. I was like 180. I can't remember what it was. 185 or 82 or something like that. I can't remember. But I never did play many sports because I always evaluated. When I was thinking about fishing, it kind of goes back to I always wanted to fish. I always made a rational decision. It was kind of like skateboarding too. Like, okay, if I'm going to fish the rest of my life, do I really need to be skateboarding and breaking more bones? If I'm going to fish the rest of my life, do I really need to play football and like get an injury? So I always kind of evaluated my level of sports participation in high school based on the future of fishing. So.
Yeah, basically everything in a fisherman's life we based upon how we can fish more, right? Isn't that it?
Yeah.
How we manage our time.
You're a lot smarter than me and most.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. I'd have 8 hobbies. Yeah. But no, that's awesome, man. I mean, Florida's got one of the first ever skate parks, or the first skate park ever, called Kona.
Wow.
I think it's in Miami. And then Stone Edge is like number 2 in Daytona. Like rich history down there. But you're on the wrong side of the state.
Look at that.
Yeah, that would have been really cool. Like we thought about draining a pool out one time. We were like, oh, maybe we could skate in a pool, but
you can still do it.
But here in Florida,
fishers are the new guy that job. Just have them go drain out a pool.
Hey, go drain that pool.
Yeah, that's a good YouTube video, Scott.
Yeah, the problem is the pools pop out of the ground down here, too low to the water table.
Low sea level.
Yeah.
Hey, man, about a year ago, just a little over a year ago, it happened. And you won with style on your home lake. And what it did was basically set the stage for a lifelong dream of yourself and your family. It's bringing you to the Bassmaster Classic. You won on Lake Okeechobee last February. We had you and Hillary on right after that, I believe.
Yep.
And 90 pounds, 6 ounces. That's the bit. Now that's the largest 3-day weight ever, right? For a 3-day dirt.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. That's the largest 3-day record. And that's going back all the way to the beginning of bass to when they started doing 5-fish stringers. Cause they used to do 7 and 10 and 50. They did all kind of crazy stuff. But yeah, that was crazy. I mean, what a blessing, man. I mean, I mean, there's so many special things, and I think it gets more special every time I think about it, to be honest with you. It was definitely at this point, probably my most important personally victory. The Forestwood Cup has a lot of specialties to it
Absolutely.
for a lot of the same reasons, but that was magical. I love this lake, man, and I'm trying to take care of this lake and trying to protect the lake and try to be a good steward of the lake and the health. And I really feel like she just, blessed me. So it was special. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, and I believe also the largest single day stringer for an open event. What was your big stringer? 34? Am I going too high on that?
Right at 33 something, 33 and change.
Okay. So that's pretty impressive, man. And again, I know it's crazy how a victory can carry good feelings throughout a year. Because I mean, quite frankly, you didn't have the best year of your career in BASS. But this tournament kept you up, man. That tournament you won last year, that open kept you up because your goal is still ahead of you.
Right. That's exactly right. I mean, look, I obviously wanted to have a lot better year than I had, this year on tour. And this will sound crazy. I was close to having a good year. That sounds crazy. But that's how bass fishing is.
This is fishing.
Someone out of the 106 people has to finish in 80th and 90th and 100th and last. And I mean, somebody's got to finish somewhere. And, a couple decisions that I made, a couple little, I would call them gambles a little bit, just totally backfired. I made one crucial mistake as well where I, fished in an off limits area there at Harris Chain and had to get my whole day disqualified, which put me in, I think, 95th place in the tournament or something crazy after getting, zeroed for the day. And then I had, Sabine kind of did the same thing as far as I didn't catch them, there. I didn't get in trouble, but I didn't catch them. I went all the way to Houston. Anyways, not to break down the year, but I say that because I felt like I was fishing good, but it didn't translate on paper. So I got, and part of it I think was I kind of exhaled a little bit, even though I didn't give up on the tournaments. I did not go there and, just sit back there and say, oh, this is basically I can do what I want event. But I think having that extra pressure of the classic and points on the line and all that I think that's good for me. I think I fish better with my back against the wall and, having to really get out and, with a purpose. And again, it's not that I didn't do that this year. It's just I didn't have that stress or sense of urgency sometimes to make something happen. I kind of sat on some patterns a little too long. I was like, I'll just go over here and I'll do my thing over here. And if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. I can't have that attitude this year.
Yeah, you got it's this year. And I can tell you're ready. I can tell we've been in this game long enough, Popcorn. We've interviewed enough anglers for the last 10 years. When Fighter was on a couple weeks ago, he's hungry too.
Oh yeah.
He's hungry. Yeah. You too, Scotty. I could tell, man. I mean,
and I will say I watched every one of your videos from last year. I love those, by the way. But I watched all those, and you could kind of see it. I could see. I thought it was. I mean, watching from the first tournament, you could see how relaxed you were.
Right.
Even just on camera and in practice, like you were playing with house money. And,
yeah, that's a good way to put it. There was a little of that.
I thought you were gonna rocket to the top because of it, but I get that. I mean, having some pressure on you if you're an angler that performs well under pressure, that's not going to be a good thing for you.
Yeah, I think I do. I think I perform better under pressure. I always have. Look, I've been doing this 25 years, and I still get nervous as a tick every tournament. I get nervous at the beginning of the season. I'm nervous, and nervous in a good way. I don't mean nervous like I'm doubtful. I'm not doubtful, but I want to do well so bad that I'm just I can't hardly sleep. I can't hardly.
You're your biggest critic.
It just means
I am. I don't feel like this is my 20. Like I've been in this long enough. I've seen the progression with some guys that aren't even fishing anymore because of this, because they started out early in their career hungry. They had some success along the way, and they just got complacent, and then they almost treated it like this was just fishing vacation, and they went through the motions out there,
You're not
and
wrong.
and then they just kind of go away, and you could see it in their performance. You could see it when you would talk to them, and they were all like, I've been doing this a long time. I feel like this is my first year. Like I feel like this is my first year. I'm out here to prove something. That's how I approach every year.
You got to stay hungry, Scott.
And I
Yeah,
want to clarify too. I wasn't saying that you were looking lackadaisical or anything like that. I could just tell
no, I
you
didn't.
you were chill.
No, he
I
thought you
was
meant
playing
he
with
was
house
lazy.
money. I made the comment. I made the comment to Canterbury and them all year long that, man, I'm not too spun out. Like if I was having a bad practice, I wasn't, oh my gosh, freaking out. I was trying to figure it out, but it wasn't. When there's points on the line, it's you're hanging onto a rope. You know what I mean? You can't let go, and you got to figure out how to survive. So that's how this is. These guys on the tour, this sport's getting younger and younger. When I won my very first FLW tournament in 2000, I was 23 years old, and I was the youngest winner of a big tournament by a long shot. And then Jacob Wheeler, 5 or 6 years later, ended up winning a tournament a little bit younger than me at the time.
Right.
So he took the title, and now you have Trey McKinney at what, 17, 8? Well, how old was he when he won Fork? 18, 17,
He was 11 or 12,
He's
I think.
19. Yeah, next
19?
Yeah, you're gonna have sixth graders out there soon.
Yeah, I mean,
They're coming.
it's these
The
guys
Miltons.
are no joke. They know everything. And again, but back to when I won this tournament. I mean, this is no joke. I didn't know anything. I knew how to throw a spinnerbait and drag a worm around. I didn't know how to punch a mat. There wasn't chatterbaits back then. There was no graphing. It was me throwing a 10-inch worm, June bug, on a 3/16 weight with 20-pound line, and throwing a spinnerbait on the same rod.
That's awesome.
That
And you were
was
like,
it.
oh, look, there's two pieces of emergent vegetation that meet
Yeah.
together. Perhaps
Right.
this is a pattern.
Right. So, but now you look at these guys now, and they, they're it's unbelievable. So
It
yeah,
is.
these guys, it's just getting younger and younger. It's harder and harder for us to compete.
We'll get to that in a minute. But I want to ask you something here. Does the number 72 mean anything to you? Does it have any significance to Scott Martin or the Martin family or anything in your life?
I'm trying to think what 72. I feel like it's supposed to mean something.
It's very you'll see what it means, but I'm fishing right here.
Yeah, 72 is not that I can think of. Other than that's when my wife was born, I think. But
okay. Is she born in 72? William Refrigerator Perry. He's number 72.
Yep.
Yeah.
But this Bassmaster Classic in Tejas, you know that one coming up in Tejas there. That'll be your 72nd BASS tournament. 72nd.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at. And 25 years and 72 derbs later.
Wow. 72 Bassmaster events. That's cool.
72 Bassmaster events. Right now you're at 69. Right now where you are.
I like that number too.
So you're heading into the season properly. There you go. But yeah, 72. Have you been prepping for the Texas event mentally?
Yeah, I have. I didn't spend a lot of time out there, but I did spend a couple days out there idling around. Didn't fish at all. Didn't even really make a cast, to be honest with you. And got a grasp of least structure and different things like that. But yeah, I've been looking at the weather. I've been just envisioning certain things, trying to just kind of manifest some things,
I like it. Creative visualization. There's this fisherman. He always went, son. You ever heard? He's like, son. And he would always say, you have to creatively visualize that fish next to that stump.
Yeah.
And just imagine it's that. You know that guy, Roland Martin. Yeah, that guy. Yeah. That's what you're doing right now about that 72nd derb.
Yeah, I like it.
You're visual.
I like it.
Do you have a go-to? I know that if I haven't fished in a while, I always have like a go-to image in my head of bass fishing, like of catching a bass. Do you have like a go-to, like when you're daydreaming about bass fishing? Like, is it
I
a
don't.
frog?
You know, it's funny. It's funny you
Fun?
say that because I do think about fishing all the time, and I think about it in so many different ways because in different scenarios because I've been around the world literally that I think I don't know. I don't know. I don't ever like end up like catching a fish out of a grass mat. I don't think I've. It's all kind of things. You know. Yeah, it's interesting though.
When I close my eyes and think of a bass, though, you know what I think of? I think of that
What?
Bassmaster cover. Remember the one where the bass is coming out and eating the red-winged blackbird off the fence? You
Yeah,
remember?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
I
Like,
don't
to me,
remember
that's
that one.
bass fishing. Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah. I'll tell you what
Yeah.
I never think about. I never think about a drop shot.
I don't either.
Yeah, that's
Think
true.
about
I don't
Or a
think I've ever.
spin pole.
But it's not something that when I'm daydreaming about fishing, I'm like, oh man, drop shot.
When I daydream about Lake Okeechobee, I do think about this on this lake, and I daydream a lot about this lake because it used to be this way a lot, and that's what we're trying to get the lake back to. But these big, massive grass flats, and you would take a big easy swim bait, one of those Gamma
Oh,
Big
yeah.
Easies, and put it
Yeah.
on a big 6/0 hook and throw it as far as you can on a 7.6 extra heavy flipping stick on 65-pound braid. Throw as far as you can and reel it on top. And you would see the grass go toosh, and then a wake coming up, shooting over from the side like a redfish coming after it. And you could
Oh,
tell how big the bass was based on the wave and how the wave how the wave bulged. Like if it was a certain kind of bulge, I
Oh,
knew
man.
it was a big one. If it was a different kind of wave, but
Andy?
different, yeah, I could tell the size of the fish based on the wake. And those fish would come up behind it and just go boosh.
oh.
And man, I tell you, that's a bite that you cannot do anywhere else in the country. And that's what makes this lake so special. When we used to have that, we're going to get it back one day, but that was a special deal. You couldn't, there's no other lake to do that on. Like it's like fishing on another planet down here.
I remember
All right,
that
man.
too. And like that was amazing. I remember that's when I lived out there in that 98 era, 99. I was with the Everglades Bassmasters back
Yeah.
then, Scotty. And
Yeah.
those eelgrass flats. Oh, I would just
Mhm.
dream about those. I couldn't wait to get back to the eelgrass.
I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna steal that image. It's late in the winter here. My bank's getting low. I'm gonna steal that one if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's a
right.
good one.
Yeah, think about
That's
The old
right.
bass bank. It's like the spank bank, but it's for
It's,
bass.
it's the bank.
It is. Hey, while we're on techniques, you want to give away some Florida sneaks? Are you willing to give it away? I mean, because I'm going to ask you some questions, and you can't hold back on these. All right? Are you all right?
Here, I got one. Here's a really good Florida technique. It's a
Oh.
Hopkins spoon, 3/4 ounce Hopkins spoon.
You're throwing that in the mats, right?
Rim
Yeah.
canal, baby. Just rim canal. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Along with the I got.
Tip it with a rubber nipple.
All
It
right,
might
here we
actually
go.
work.
So what we're gonna do is these are top secret sneaks, okay? And I'm gonna
Okay.
give you some Florida techniques, and you need to give us something you do with these techniques that you don't think anybody else does. And I also want you to tell us what tackle you're throwing them on. You got all your loose stuff in there. You tell
Yeah,
us
I do.
what you're throwing on. The first sneak that I want to know about from Scott Martin is a good old frog. Give us a frog sneak and tell us what you
All
throw.
right, frog sneak. I actually laid a couple rods out here right now. Here's a frog. Here's a frog right there.
Ooh.
This is I'm not going to
Popping
tell you the
frog.
brand, but it's a popping frog.
I see some
Mhm.
things you've done too.
See the little sparkly.
I sure do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
That is actually a production model now, but that
It
is
has-
a trick that some of us
That comes
have
with
done.
tints.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I
So
know
a couple
you.
things I do to a frog. A couple things I do to a frog is I do bend the hooks out, or I replace them with the Trocar frog hook. It's a 4/0. This is very,
Okay.
very, 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 very good tip. The biggest thing with frog fishing, as we all know, is your hookup ratio, right?
Absolutely.
So no matter how good your frog is, if you can't land them on it, it's frustrating. It's almost like you don't know what to do. You're scared to throw the thing sometimes because you're like, dude, I don't want to even get the bite and then lose it. So landing them is important. So I'll put the Trocar 4/0. Doesn't have one in here now, but on these popping frogs, that 4/0 sticks out pretty far from the side of the frog. So it's not as weedless, but here's why. You don't have to have a super weedless popping frog. Popping frogs are not made for mats of grass. Popping frogs are made for open water holes in between stuff. You're fishing it like a pop R, where you throw a pop R, down beside a dock on a laydown, down a shoreline, around the cattail clumps, but not through the cattail clumps. So I go to that 4/0, which is like a gaff sticking out.
Yeah.
When one comes up and hits it, it's game over. Like you land like a solid 80, 90% of them. And I don't even think about losing a frog. Of course, you have to have braid, but that's my biggest tip is putting that big gaff hook on there.
That's awesome.
Get away from being weedless. Don't worry about the weedless thing. It doesn't get hung up. My hooks are sticking out really far with that 4/0, and it doesn't get hung up hardly at all still. So
the thing with that tinsel too, let me say something, and you kind of breezed over it. That's been a hashtag Florida man sneak for quite a bit now. But I mean, some guys even putting straight tinsel. Now,
that's
Scott,
right.
With that deal, I see a lot of you Florida guys working that popping frog very aggressively, almost like saltwater pops. Do you do that often?
No,
none of that.
I don't. No, I don't do this super aggressive. I get a normal cadence and I let it pause more than I'm popping it. And here's why. On Okeechobee, and this is different. Now it'd be different at farther north you go in Florida, it's different. So you go to Seminole, you go to Palatka, Okeechobee's kind of its own deal. These fish are spawning here pretty much from November through May. So it's the longest spawn in the country. I do a very normal cadence, and I let it sit, and I get bit on the sit. I don't get bit on the movement. They're not crushing it, moving. They like it sitting still. So I'm covering water, moving it, but I'm keeping it in the strike zone because either I'm around fry, and that frog needs to sit around that fry to get that fish to bite. Or there's a bed there, and it needs to stay in that strike zone over that bed just a little bit longer. So if you're ripping it through there all fast, you're moving through the fry too fast, where the fish is like, oh, I don't need to worry about that anymore because that thing's moving on. Or you've moved through the bed. So yeah, I don't fish it fast.
What's the perfect Scott Martin frog rod?
This one here's a 7374. Heavy action, but I like a little tip. I like just a little bit of tip, not a bunch, but just a little. I don't want a broomstick 7374. I want something a little tip because again, I've got those big hooks. I don't have to like try to move a bunch of plastic on this thing. The hooks are sticking all the way out. I can make very accurate casts with that 7374, and I can make really good consistent pops with my frog having that rod again being that 7374 with a little bit of tip. It just allows that thing to make a better bubble and a better pop. And a real stiff rod, you'll blow your frog out too many times. Like you'll be popping it on a super stiff rod, and it blows it out where it doesn't bloop, bloop, bloop. I want it if it misses that deal, you just don't get as many bites.
Yeah, nice, Scott. Well put.
I got one more frog thing.
Ryan's a frog freak.
Sorry, I like frogging. The hook set. I always go back and forth on the hook set because you're working it with the rod tip down, and sometimes if I'm missing fish, I start making sure I go straight up, or try to the side, try sweep setting. Like what's the deal? You got any kind of formula for when to set the hook a certain way?
I definitely take my time. I let them eat it a little bit, especially if I get a big bite. I let them eat it a little bit. I want it to get down in their crushers a little bit. Those big fish will crush that frog. If it'll get down in their throat, they'll crush it, and the hooks will literally hook them really good around that crusher area. It's way down their throat. It doesn't kill them or anything, but it's in that crusher area. I'm not setting the hook super fast, but I do set it pretty darn hard. It's not an up or side thing. Probably 45. I mean, that's probably my normal hook set. Okay. But man, I keep them headed my way. I don't want them to turn too much. I want to hit them and try to get them up on top and keep them. I'd rather them splashing around on the surface because there's less resistance, less drag. I land them better that way instead of
gaffing
keeping
reel
them down in the water.
Yeah,
I just crank them. Yeah, you don't want them to. get bogged up in that grass and get leverage on you because they'll change the direction of that hook.
Right. You've become quite efficient at using the perspective mode on your locator. And I think you won I mean, it was a huge part of your victory on Okeechobee last February. Give us a sneak using perspective and sight fishing hand in hand.
I look for cover. I mean, everybody thinks I was targeting the reason everybody thinks I was targeting the fish solely at Okeechobee is because the couple clips that they did put on there, those were some fish on beds and there were some fish swimming around, and so you could see them okay. But a lot of those fish I caught, first day, second day, were just in and around the cover. And I could see fish moving around and swimming around and not sticking around, but those fish were coming in. It was like a cattle trail where I happened to be. I got very lucky by finding that little spot. It was like a cattle trail of fish coming into that bay. and so I
It
didn't
was
move
a
very
fun
much
spot
at
on
all.
St. John. The same
Yeah.
kind of deal.
But there was a lot of cattails in the water that you couldn't see, and there was clumps and holes in the cattails that I could see with the perspective. So it was like fishing a brush pile underwater. It allowed me to kind of make the right kind of cast and understand how those fish are using that cover. I could see them swimming consistently through certain areas, but I did catch a few that I saw, that stick around a little bit. But I'm not seeing a big bed. You just see the fish kind of moving around. They'd stop and they'd set up on the bait. For sure.
So I'm
So I did catch
interpreting
a few.
you as use it to visualize cover that the fish might be spawning next to that you might not see because it's submerged.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you couldn't see most of it. I mean, most of the good stuff you couldn't see. It was 6-8 inches under the water. So there was a giant forest of dead cattails where they were chopped off at the water line, but then the water came up. So it was just all these, like a forest of dead cattails. But there were certain places. If you threw a worm out there just randomly, every other cast or so, we'd come in with a big clump of dead cattail stalks and stuff and mud on your hook. There'd be stuff wrapped on your hook, and you didn't get many bites. When you would come in, it just was you just didn't get bit very good in those areas. So you'd find some areas that had a little bit harder bottom, some areas that a little more clean. And once I started making the same kind of cast, to certain areas and coming through things where it wasn't dirty and my hooks were coming back clean, I caught more fish in those areas too.
Nice. Hey, and there's always some little subtlety that it seems that you professionals pick up on that I don't know, that some of us guys that don't fish as much might not. And that's a case right there. And here's another one. So remember when you and I fished together on Pickwick? Or I didn't get to fish. I wanted to fish,
right.
but
but
can I give away your chatterbait sneak, or can you give it away what you were doing that time?
Yeah, go ahead.
It was so cool. So here's the thing. So you're taking a regular chatterbait, and you're putting an oversized blade on it, in a Magnum trailer, and then just basically fishing Tennessee River ledge stuff, with it. And I mean, you were catching biggins of every species, from giant catfish to big old bass. And I mean, that I had never seen anybody do that before. Can you elaborate on it? You want to talk a little bit about what you did?
Yeah, that was it wasn't anything. This wasn't a tip or a technique that I'd read about or anybody had tipped me off on. This was when you play tackle like I do and sit in my boat and rig stuff at night. I'm the last one to bed, by the way, on the road. Canterbury and Matt can attest to that. I'm always tinkering and thinking and messing around. And that was that was a fun event because it was completely no practice counted there. Because remember, the water came up 15 feet. They canceled.
You were catching
2
them off of
days.
picnic tables. It was awesome.
Yes. Yeah. They canceled the first 2 days of the tournament. Remember?
Yep.
And so we got out there, and I kind of made it up on the fly, like that. Even where I caught them when we took off that morning. I'd never fished there before. It was just a gut thing. Like literally I turned around and we started fishing down those rocks and then went over there by the tree and like right in front of, Tommy Sanders and all of them started whacking 5-pounders. But
awesome.
Yeah. But that for me was, when you're slow rolling a chatterbait, you wanna have a little bit more vibration when you put those bigger trailers on there, and that muddier water I figured would kind of draw a bigger bite and maybe make that bait stand out a little bit better. And of course it did. So, I had bought some of those blades at a tackle shop and they ended up being a little bit bigger when I bought them. And I noticed, I was like, okay, that's kind of like it's not as big as the big blade they make now, but it was that medium. It was like a one step up from the regular blade. And it just allowed me to fish that heavier chatterbait on a bigger blade. It matched it better because when I would slow down, when you slow down that, was it a 5/8 that I was throwing?
You
I
were
think it was
throwing
a
a
5/8.
5/8. Yes, sir.
Yeah, which is a hard one to find, by the way.
You only make it in one model.
They make it one model. That's right. And when you would
Every-
slow the 5/8 down real slow and try to creep it, you would lose the vibration at times.
Yep.
So it would get dead on me. And so I'd have to kind of I had to reel it faster to get it to go. With that bigger blade, it offset more resistance. And so it vibrated at a slower retrieve. And so I was able to crawl that thing. And so I could come in behind people and those areas that people were fishing. And, I felt like I had a little bit of an advantage.
You sure did.
Are you opening up the eye to fit that blade in there?
Yeah.
You're not putting
Yep.
splitting
Yep.
right?
Yeah, and this particular blade too, there was one that you could attach it. It was a little add-on blade that you could attach. So it was kind of cool.
Accessory. Yeah. So the key ingredient was the 5/8 size, upgrading the blade slightly, in an oversized trailer in muddy
That's
water.
right.
Scott Martin's
That's right.
sneak ingredient.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
that
had
was a
so
good
much
one.
confidence. You had so much, like, you're like, I got this bait pad. I'm smashing them on it. You were so happy about it, dude. You really were.
It's moments like that is what makes me get out of bed. I mean, it's like that's the kind of stuff that's just it's awesome. And that's a lot of times it's those subconscious things that you calculate throughout practice and your experiences and things you see at tackle shops and time on the water, all these things that just kind of help you just kind of have these aha moments occasionally. And that was one of them for me.
And it clicks. That's a sign of a good tournament fisherman. Here's another example, and that was a very good tournament for you. Another example, you top 10, I believe. And
I did.
The next decision you made on the water was you actually put that chatterbait down a moment, and you said, "Oh, look at these picnic tables. I'll bet the original bank line is right here." So you start paralleling a flat side right on that OG bank line. Oh, 5.5 pounder.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You
Smallmouth too.
Dude, you couldn't do wrong that day.
Yeah.
We pulled up to Matt Airy, and Matt's all spinning out, and you're like, "Oh, I bet there's one over here." Another 5 pounds.
That was good.
Matt's going, "What the hell?"
I know. That's what tournament fishing is right there. That was a fun event. I'm not saying I would like to have these no practice events, but that was fun to be able to just go off the cuff like that.
It was great.
And roll with it.
Great, man. And the same thing. And then I remember I was with Kyle Welcher the next day, and he was just winging it too, bud. I mean, that's what shows a good fisherman. Wing it. Like,
I appreciate that. That was fun.
It was cool, dude. We got to do it. We'll do it again this year. We'll go this year. We'll definitely get that together. Hey, let's say we take this opportunity to learn a little bit more about you, Scott Martin. Okay? We're gonna get deep. You ready? All right. Okay. You got to be completely honest. You ready? Okay. So
shoot.
Yeah, you're going to the end zone. You're gonna do a button hook, and I'm gonna hit you deep. All right, you ready?
Look, don't go too deep. This guy's from Florida.
Yeah,
man. If it's deeper than 8 feet.
Yes. All right. The name of your show is the Scott Martin Challenge. The Scott Martin Challenge. It's a challenge every time someone gets on the water with you. They're out to beat your ass. You're not going to let it happen to the best of your ability. But my question to you is, what is Scott Martin's biggest challenge in life? What has been your biggest challenge ever as a human? Not as a bass fisherman, just as Scott Martin, the man. What's been your biggest challenge, bud?
Ah, man. My biggest challenge is probably trying to raise 4 kids and do all this at the same time. That's been my biggest challenge, and I don't know if I've done
Not
it
easy.
right. I mean, it's tough. I'm gone a lot, and everything I do requires a lot of time. We're shooting a lot of TV. We're shooting a lot of things, and I think the biggest challenge is just being a good father to my kids, the best to my ability.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing I have, not regrets on, but I know that I will one day. I know that I'm gonna. I know I'm gonna. It's like, these trophies, they're cool, but they don't. That's nothing.
Yeah, and you experienced it. You said it yourself. Your pop was working a lot too, so you know what it's
Yeah.
like. But there is a sacrifice. And here's the thing, just so you know, every time that and not just on videos or Instagram or anything like that, but when you see your kids, they're happy, Scott.
Yeah.
When I see your kids at a Bass Classic or an event or whatever, they are happy. So
Yeah.
you're doing something right.
No, I'm very blessed. I've been very, very blessed with our children. They've all grown up to be great young men and women, and my wife is just a huge part of that. I mean, without her, it'd be a disaster. But yeah. So my family's been amazing, and I tell you, without her, it wouldn't be that way because she's been able to take care of the kids and nurture them. They're all pretty much grown up now. Amelia's she's about to go off to college this next year, so she's going to be out of the house.
And yeah, and I know that Hillary's ruling college pretty much right now. She owns
That's
that place. Yeah, something funny that you said you brought up your wife as the crucial ingredient to a lot of this. And when I go, we do a little research and development for this show, Scott. So we Googled
A little
Scott
R&D.
Martin. Yeah, a little R&D. We Googled Scott Martin. I Googled Scott Martin Bassin Man. And I can even send this to you so you don't think I'm making it up. But when I Google it, said, who is Scott Martin's wife? Was one of the questions in the Google. Swear to God, I'm gonna email it to you.
Is that number one?
Yeah, no, it was like number 3 actually.
Okay.
But
Yeah, that's so funny.
But I'm gonna you got to show her because it's pretty hysterical. So I
That's
think it's
funny.
great though. I mean, people are she's keeping it together right there, isn't she? That's pretty awesome.
She's amazing. She truly is amazing for sure.
Man, bass fishing brings great things to you, Scott Martin, to many of us in the Bass Galaxy, like probably experiences beyond your wildest dreams. Like I personally got to hang out with let alone fishing heroes of mine, but rock stars and babes and all kinds of cool stuff because of bass fishing. You know what I mean? Give me a cool experience you've had solely because you're a professional bass fisherman, Scott.
Oh, man. I think the coolest one recently was being able to take Donald Trump Jr. out fishing, and we've hung out a few times and done some things, and I think that's pretty cool. I've never met President Trump. I hope I do one day.
Yeah.
But being able to spend some time with Don Jr. That's pretty special, man. I don't know. I mean,
absolutely.
I've been around a lot of pretty big sports players. I've been around Larry Bird a few times, and some of the country singers, Travis Tritt, and those guys. And those are all amazing people as well. But I mean, to be that close to the president of the United States is pretty cool. So
was there like all kinds of security and stuff around you?
Oh yeah. They should. It's funny, the Secret Service showed up, and they always have to try to blend in. So if they go to Hawaii, for example, they're all going to have like the Hawaiian shirts on and the khaki shorts on, and
like Magnum PI.
Yeah, right. So they all have to try to blend in. They think they're blending in, but it's the opposite of that because they're like, okay. So they showed up down here, and they all had like
Ron John surf on.
They had AFCO shirts on and belts with like pliers on the belt. And I'm like, okay, guys, Like nobody's got the belt, the pliers on the belt. Like it's
sheath.
everything looks brand new. Yeah, yeah.
Nobody wearing that stuff has an earpiece in, guys.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. He's got the earpiece in. But
They're
that
gonna
was
know.
cool. And then I think though one of my coolest memories though, I tell you, my coolest memories was when I was a kid at the Bassmasters Classic, being able to I would hang out and I would work with Sammy Lee, for example, and some of the guys at Ranger, and I would wipe the boats down before they came into the arena,
Okay.
or I would go to blast off in the mornings and kind of help do things.
You were part of it.
And yeah, I hung out with like Melissa Clun and their daughter, and like we all ran around, Hank Jr., Hank Parker's son, and we all
Sure.
just did things back then, and hanging out with Bill Dance, and just all it was just really cool growing up, and I still look up to all of those guys, the legends of the sport still to today, but to be able to as a kid run around and kind of feel like I was part of their family. That was a really cool experience. So growing up in the bass fishing world kind of opened that up for me. That was really cool to be able to do growing
Yeah,
up.
absolutely, it is, man. When you were a kid, like, did any of those icons or those heroes of the sport, like like Bill or Jimmy or Hank, did they ever yell at you? Were they ever like, "Settle down, Scotty, quit running around"? Anybody they reprimand you?
I'm 100% know that probably happened because I hear stories all the time. I don't remember. Maybe I had such a crazy childhood that I don't remember when I was like 5, and I don't remember 4, 5, and 6 much. But we lived at these campgrounds and we traveled around doing all the tournaments. But now when I meet people and they say, "Oh, I remember you when you were a little kid. You were a little butthole, man. You kicked me right between the legs. You stepped on my foot. I did terrible things to people back then." So I'm sure I got yelled at a lot.
Bill Dance probably smacked you one upside the head.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of kids, this is a tough question. Now, think about this a second, Scott. Some say that this sport is past its prime. It's done. And it now belongs purely to the minnow kids. What do you think about that? Is this sport past its prime? Is it done? Is it ruled purely by forward-facing technology and kids with spin poles?
I don't think so. I mean, that's a debate of all debates. So everybody watching this, it's split down. It's probably split right down the middle on that answer. But I hope not. I really do. I hope not. I think they'll make some adjustments of some sort. I'm sure. And there's I don't think so.
So
I don't
let me
think
ask
so.
you,
I don't
and
think the sport's yet. I'll tell you where the sport's going, and and I'll let you finish your question because I know they have more directed at that. But where this sport is going next is international. We've got our bases covered here in the States. We've got high school, college, middle school teams now. 4 or 5 different tournament trails. But internationally, it's a big deal. As
yeah,
we've traveled
we
around
part of
doing
that
these.
team already.
Oh yeah, but as we've traveled around and we go to Portugal, and we're in the middle of Portugal in these little towns that were created, founded in like the 12th century, cobblestone roads, and there's a whole bass fishing community in these towns, and
Really?
and guys that fish tournaments, and there's tackle stores,
That's awesome.
and it is awesome. It's so awesome, and
I
so
didn't know
we're
that.
in this bubble. We're in this bubble here in the United States, thinking like, oh, what else can we do here? What else can the industry do? What else can these lure companies do? The whole world's out there. I mean, and there's so many countries that are hungry to take bass fishing. Bass fishing in other countries, like in Portugal, for example, is where bass fishing used to be 20 years ago here. So they're having just some small tournaments, local tournaments. They have bait shops and tackle shops, and
I didn't
they
know
all
you.
have boats. Oh, it's
That's cool.
huge though. It's everywhere. In Italy, I went to Italy just recently, and it's big there. It's Spain's huge. So it can grow so much in these other countries. Just imagine that.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
That's a great answer. I didn't think you were going there at all. That's an amazing answer. And I really am not trying to go anywhere on a forward-facing debate or not. It's technology is part of everything in life. There's nothing we can do about and I shouldn't say that. Technology is part of everything in life. Let's leave it at that. But it's a new era. It's a new era.
It is. I mean, it's but let me tell you, a lot of times people say, "Oh, these kids couldn't catch anything if they took the minnow away from them," and I beg to differ.
I've seen
because I've fished these high school tournaments with Hillary. I was their captain for a few years, and here in Florida, for example, we're not all forward-facing sonar here in Florida. Like, we don't minnow fish in Florida much, so we'd have 180 boats in these events, and these kids could fish. And I'm telling you, the kids in Alabama, the kids in Georgia, the kids in Texas, they're not just minnow fishermen. They can do it all. That's the difference now, is that they can beat you with a minnow and they can beat you with a chatterbait because they know enough about fishing now, and they've done it all. It's just the skill level. I mean, their knowledge level is
there's so much
so much far beyond where we were at that age.
Do you think? I mean, it's a relatively new technology. It hasn't been out that long. Do you think this next generation, though, because the narrative is there's that you need to know how to minnow fish, and that's the main way to win? Do you think?
Yeah,
next kids in the next 10 years, it's going to be all that, or
you could maybe see a crux for that next generation but if you're smart enough, you understand how to use live sonar, shallow and deep. And we're minnow fishing, but there's many times that we're using live sonar in the grass beds and near the grass beds. And so, yeah, we might be still fishing a minnow, but we understand what the fish are doing, and there's ways to pivot, up shallow when you need to and catch some. So anyways, I don't know. But yeah, I think if going forward, I think more and more people are going to probably be not knowing as much as the current ones do now.
Because they have to focus on that one technique, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely turned into that.
So here's the thing. Like, okay, and again, I don't want to get into a discussion, but I don't know if a kid that's like a flipper can be like, okay, I'm a flipper, and I'm going to come out and I'm going to dominate the series like we saw in the past. And again, it's because of technology. Technology happens, but it's all right.
Everything need to come out with a technology that helps flippers.
Yeah, where's the perspective? Here we go. That's perspective.
X-ray through the grass, something that goes through the grass.
I know, but it's funny. Like, fishing's changed in general, and you hear. And this is just, I've never even thought about it much. So this whole topic is kind of silly, but I heard people saying like there's less and less fish on the bank, and what's the cause of that? Is it because more and more people are scoping them and they're just scared to go to the bank? They're getting beat up offshore all year long and they don't go to the bank like they used to.
Intercepting them.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe that's true. I don't know. But again, here at Okeechobee, we're not minnow fishing. We're not sonar fishing here, and there's certain techniques here on Okeechobee that aren't as good as they used to be, like punching mats, for example. I haven't been on a mat bite, and there's mats. There's mats in the lake. There's mats in the lake. There's mats all the time. And there hasn't been a mat bite in 5 or 6 years. You tell me that's a BFL, you tell me an Everstart, a Toyota, an FLW. You tell me the last time someone was punching a mat.
The last
Toho or at Okeechobee. It's all chatterbaits and jerkbaits and casting Cincos around and skipping docks. I mean, it's not. I don't know. Like, it's changed even here, and that's not because of sonar. Like, why aren't they in mats anymore? I mean, that used to be the thing we'd look for. Like, when there was mats, that's where you fished.
Yeah,
make mat fishing great again.
Yeah, we need to get a. That's funny. We get a hat.
I mean, that scares the hell out of me. It's like my favorite thing in the world to do. I don't like.
I haven't caught it. I haven't been on a mat bite in a tournament in Florida in literally like 6 years. All the times at Palatka, and there's mats at Palatka. I can't get them at Palatka doing it. I can't catch them here doing it. We've been to Toho and Kissimmee. I can't do it there. Like it just.
Do you think
I
they're
don't know.
not in there? Like, are they just not in there? Or are they?
I don't think they're using it like they. I don't think they use it like they used to. I don't know why.
That's weird, man.
So is that? So my question is that what's happening to the fish in the mats, which is kind of like a shoreline bite? Is that the same as what's happening to the other fish that are kind of not going on the bank as much and bushes and whatnot, that people aren't catching it wherever else they? I don't know if it has any relation. I don't know.
The evolution of
they're not on the bank here in Florida
They're
anymore.
going completely Mako shark on us.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, they're going completely Mako on us.
Oh man.
Hey, your mom was one of the best tournament fisher people ever, right? Your mom was great at tournament fishing.
She was. Yeah. And
I mean, and a lot of people don't really realize that. They think of your pop.
Yeah.
But your mom, she's a derber.
I probably spent more days. There's a chance that I spent more days. Well, I'll say this. I spent more days with my mom fishing as a kid, like a little kid, than I did with my dad. For sure. She would take me fishing. And even when I was an infant, she put a playpen in the bottom of the Ranger. Like most kids at a year or 2 years old in a playpen, that was in your living room at your house. And so you just lived in a playpen in your living room looking at the TV. My playpen was literally perfectly in the bottom of that Ranger, 374 VS. And then when I got a little old, too old for the playpen, I just played in the floor of the boat with Legos. There's Legos in the floor of the boat. That was I spent a lot of my life early on just in the bottom of a boat, not even paying attention to what was going on.
That's so great. Like
awesome.
I used to like put Barney on for my daughter a lot, watch some Barney.
Yeah.
Your mom just put you in front of a reed clump. You know what I mean?
Yes, she did. She did.
Watch those reeds, they're gonna shake.
Yeah, watch this, son.
Yeah.
Beware of that gator. The what's a tournament lesson your mom taught you?
Oh man, just I don't know if she ever taught me like a straight up here's a lesson, but she was always she always used to tell me, and even if I asked her today, if I said something to her today about fishing, she would tell me, you need to go put out some brush piles. Like she said that for 20 years. I guess back in the day they did it. So, like even in FLW days, you're not supposed to get like information, right? So, but I would say my mom, hey mom, I'm leaving to go to, wherever, Kentucky Lake or something. She said, let me tell you something. You need to put out some brush piles. Okay, mom, thank you.
Some cane piles, son.
Yeah, she doesn't know what a cane pile is, but I guess back in the day, that's what they did. They put brush piles out all the time, before sonar and GPSs.
Sure,
it was good to put them out because you had them yourself. But
you're the only one knows where it is.
And then you would triangulate to find them, Scott. Yes.
That's correct. Yeah. So she always used to give me advice on brush piles, but I never really did brush piles.
You're a talented guy. Do you do like impersonations or anything? Like, can you
No, not really.
None of that? Can you sing and dance? Any of that?
No, I can. If I've been at a party for a little while, I can dance a little bit, but not off the cuff. I was thinking about trying to do that new Kendrick move where he, at the Super Bowl move. That was a pretty good one. I downloaded a couple little videos of that. I want to practice it. I was thinking about doing it at the Classic.
I think you, Canterbury, and Matt Airy could practice that on the YouTube and get that going.
That's right.
You are a YouTube superstar. Okay? Seriously. Giant proportions on the old YouTube.
I've enjoyed it.
Dude. And here's the thing. Ryan was talking to me. Ryan, you tell Scotty. You tell him what you said.
Oh, I mean, I watch so much of your content. It's ridiculous. Like
That's awesome. Thank you.
I'll tell you this: you cover the tournament so well that if I miss a tournament or something like that, and then your video comes out, I got to make sure I don't watch your video first. I got to go watch the tournament because it'll
ruins
it
it
cover
for
the
them.
whole tournament, and it's just
Yeah.
it's the most well edited and well filmed. I mean, I can tell you got a camera on all the time, but I love traveling and fishing so much that when I watch yours, like I feel like I'm there. I'm like, oh yeah, this
that's
is what-
cool. Thank you.
like the same stuff we do. You know, there's thousands and thousands of people that travel around and fish, and you guys are just the guys doing that. You just happen to be a lot better than a lot of us.
It keeps
appreciate it.
positive.
But
That's
it,
the
yeah,
thing. It's
yeah,
the
yeah.
positivity,
The positivity.
man.
I don't see watching these videos. It's all positive, all bass fishing. Makes me want to go bass fishing. In
That's
skateboarding, the biggest compliment you could give to a skateboarder that made a video is that video made me want to skate. So
Oh,
your
good.
videos make me want to fish.
Really?
So
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been I appreciate that. You know, to me, when I look at my accomplishments so far, I'm probably the most proud of that. I am the most proud of what we've captured on YouTube for the sport. For that reason, that's the reason I do it. I truly love fishing so much, and I want to share the sport. I feel like that's my destiny is to help elevate this sport to where it's going, and be part of that. Um, it's a lot of work, but at the same time, like it's family. You know, like you guys are family. Like y'all are watching, and my viewers are like my family. Like so, when I feel sick about not doing good in the tournament, it's because I feel like I've let my fans down. When I do good, I'm happy for my family, and I'm happy because I did that for my fans. You know what I mean? And so, some of the best compliments that I've ever received, and I get this often, fathers and mothers will come up to me and say, "Thank you so much for what you do with these videos." Because it's allowed me to reconnect with my son. We're fishing now in these tournaments. Or the mom says, "Hey, I'm able to spend time with my son. He's outside. He's with his father. He's with his grandfather." Like they appreciate that. They appreciate that it's good, clean content. That we're not doing anything too crazy, and it's been impactful for that reason. And so, I, I know, and then now I've talked to a lot of these younger college kids that have been watching my videos since they were like 6 years old, which blows me away. And then I realized like, yeah, we've been doing this for a lot of years. So
yeah, with TV shows been going.
Yeah.
I mean, how long? What was the first year of the Scott Martin Challenge?
2004. Wow. Yeah. So long time. And that's been good. We still do it, you know, and it's fun. And the TV allows us to tap into kind of a different demographic there. The people that watch TV is kind of a different demographic than the people that are hardcore YouTube. But, you know, a lot of people are watching YouTube. I get people from every age group you can imagine that appreciate the YouTube videos because you know, we show everything. We really do. We show everything from start to finish, and we try to be creative as much as we can, and I enjoy that part of it. I enjoy the production, and to me, it's kind of like art. I like that artistic side of trying. I mean, I produce all that, you know, and I'm working with the editors and helping with the shots and suggesting that we do, you know, this and that. McCoy's fantastic, of course, and I've been able to just let him do his thing. But it's a group effort, you know. We're sitting there coming up with ideas and plans and structuring out what we want to do.
And you're not too outrageous on the clickbait.
Right.
I mean, the latest title was Asteroids in the Everglades.
So that's not clickbait at all. I caught an asteroid. Okay?
I mean, a python eats McCoy Fisher. That's not.
Yes.
That's not. It's not clickbait.
That might be my most clickbaity title ever, but I actually did catch an asteroid in the Everglades. To be fair,
on a spinnerbait or what?
Oh, really?
How'd you catch it?
It was on a crankbait. It was on a crankbait. You have to watch the video. I'm not going to tell you anymore, but I caught an asteroid. I really did. I caught a lot of fish and an asteroid. But my new camera guy this was his first attempt at as his first thumbnail. I said, hey, you gotta make a thumbnail for the video. We need to post it. And so he came up with the whole asteroid thing, and so I really did catch one. And so I'm like, that's a little clickbaity, but what the heck? Let's just go with it.
That
So we
ain't no
rolled with it.
meteorite, son. That's a
Yeah.
flaming hunk of poop. Let's remember that from Joe Dirt, where he finds the peanut in the.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, dude, I mean, you are nailing it on the YouTube. Like when I think of bass fishing YouTube, I think of Scott Martin and Ben Milliken. I mean, you guys are nailing it. There's no doubt.
Well, I appreciate it. Like I said, it's a great tool for me to, it's like that's why we started. I was doing the TV shows, and we would shoot 13 episodes of TV. And I always felt like, man, that's just not enough. Like I want to film. I would go out and have all these spectacular days of fishing somewhere, before we did YouTube. And like, my gosh, why can't we capture this? People need
just having a great time.
I get excited.
Yeah.
I get excited every time I catch one, And I think everyone's big. I think every fish I hook's giant, big, huge.
Yeah, TV with commercials is what, like 22 minutes, 23 minutes, something like that.
That's right.
That's a lot.
That's right.
Solid catches.
That's just
catching.
That's just a clip on YouTube now.
Yeah, that's right.
You got 2-3 hours. I mean, dude, I can't watch 2-3 hours of anything other than these tournament videos. I'm obsessed. Please don't ever stop covering practice. That's my favorite part.
Ryan wins practice.
Everybody always asks that. I mean, we get on our chat, people ask all the time, like, how does he break down practice? All this stuff. So like being able to see that and see all your whole practice, that's so huge. I know people are probably most interested.
We're gonna keep rolling with it for sure. Like I said, we've got a whole nother season ahead of us, and we're gonna keep rolling with it, man, for sure.
Hey, there's lots of things you keep rolling on, and even after the let me put it this way. Let me just back up a second. When's the last time you've been shot at, Scott?
Last year. That was crazy. He didn't well, I got shot. I got a gun pulled on me, and then I got shot at later. That same day, I got shot with a water gun going through the canal. Going through the canal there at Dora, and we're idling through the canal, and all these pontoon boats are driving through there, and they're going really slow. And I'm idling by one of the pontoon boat guys, and I thought he was being sarcastic. Like, I just thought he was being and I couldn't really hear him, and my engine's going, and I'm just idling through there. And he got pissed that I was going by him, and he pulled up a super soaker over the guardrail of this pontoon boat. And he just and I was like, oh my God, you just shot me with a dang water gun. And I was already shook up a little bit because I had a 45 pulled on me earlier in the morning.
That was
down
nuts.
the Apopka Canal.
Yes. Tell us about that. That's crazy. Somebody pulls a gun on you when you're fishing a canal.
Yeah, well, I was in the Apopka Canal. I'm running on plane, and it was, it's legal to run on plane in the Apopka Canal. It's not a no-wait zone.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a guy in a smaller boat, like a real small, not a straight canoe, but it was like a Ginu type boat.
Yeah.
And he was tucked against the bank in the shadows of the overhanging trees. And so as I'm shooting down the canal, which isn't a very wide canal, I didn't see him. I just didn't see him until I did see him. Before I got to him, I saw him, and I started slowing down. And knowing what I know about common sense, like the wake of a boat, I'm not going to hit the guy. First of all, he's against the bank, so I know that there's no chance of me crashing into him. So my only damage now, and I'm acknowledging that I see him. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, and I'm coming off plane, but where my boat is literally going to stop and like go like this and wash a big wave is literally dead even with him, which could flip his boat over. So I opt to stay on a slow plane enough where my wave is not big, and I cheat way over to the side. So I'm not going to hit him. I'm still far enough away from him, but I'm acknowledging that I see him. I'm sorry. But I stay on plane. But as I'm coming by him, boy, he pulls out that dang 45, dude, a big old silver one. And I'm looking down the barrel. I'm looking down the barrel. He's following me with that thing. He didn't shoot, but I mean, if he would have, it'd probably hit me.
Damn.
And pretty freaky deal. So
The cool part was Lisa went over there and arrested him. Yeah, you called Lisa the term correct. She got in right away in an airboat.
She got him in the headlock. It was crazy. Right there at the boat ramp. She headlocked him, and then she suplexed him. It was crazy.
And McCoy captured it. I'll just go to the Scott Martin YouTube channel, look up the
big fight.
Channel 8.
Yeah,
big fight.
That's right there. Hey, let's say we get to a few viewer questions. We'd be amiss if we didn't. They've been sending some in. And want to remind everybody your last chance to like and share this live Facebook feed, because Scott's giving away a tackle pack and then what, a spatula from your kitchen or something? What are you giving away? A George Foreman grill? I don't know what you're doing.
I have a very special plunger that I've used for years that thinking about giving that one away.
You gonna sign it?
Along with this fishing reel right here. How about that? With some braid and everything. It's frog ready.
You're giving that away?
Yeah.
I like it.
Right
That's
there.
new lose right there. Fresh from Scotty
Nice.
Roland Martin.
Yeah.
Boom. All right, let's
There you go.
get some viewer questions. Suchan sent me a picture. He's got the frog picture. Suchan has the frog picture, and Such sent it to me, and you sure do look like Fred Rabanis in this picture. Unreal.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sending it to you, Scott, and
That's
I got to
funny.
send you this and the Google. Such comes through again. Such is awesome.
Yeah, he is good.
All right, let's get some questions. Rock and Shoal Fantasy. How do you like that for a username? Rock and Shoal Fantasy.
I like it.
Here's some questions here. Steve Glab has a question for you, Scott.
Okay.
You had some rough tournament years in the last 5 years. What was the mentality to get you through and keep grinding?
For me, I have 3 goals. 3. That's it. That's what I have left. I was very blessed to do my goals on FLW. I had goals to win an FLW event. I had a goal to win an Angler of the Year, and I had a goal to win the World Championship. And I accomplished those goals on FLW. And when I came over to Bassmaster, my main goal is to win the Bassmaster Classic. My second goal is to win an elite event. My third goal was to win an Open, preferably here on Lake Okeechobee. And obviously, we accomplished that goal this last year. So my main focus is a blue trophy and the Classic.
Nice.
And so that's what gets me through. You know, I'm not here to say, hey, I finished. I had a good year. I finished 25th in the tournaments this year. Great. You know, I'm only here to win the Classic and a blue trophy. So if I can do that, I'm good. And that's what gets me out of bed. That's my focus. I'm finishing 30th place to me next year or this year is the same as finishing 70th place. It means it. I mean, obviously, it means things for making the Classic, but that's not my goal. My goal is to win the Classic, make the Classic, win a blue trophy. So, you know, I've had some rough, rough patches, but you know, hey, it's tough out there. It's definitely
Bassin' ain't easy, Scott. Bassin' ain't easy.
Definitely gotten more complicated for sure.
This is a great question from Lee King. He says, Scott, now that you've fished bass for a few years, and you also were a superstar on FLW, which series do you find tougher or more challenging?
Oh, for me, 100% the Bassmaster Elite.
Okay.
100% the Bassmaster Elite. Yeah. And then there was fantastic fishermen on the FLW tour. But it was different back then. It was just different. This was pre-scope. It was pre-young fishermen in the events. This was just a different era. Things are speeding up, man. It's like it's the same in you look at the technology in the world today. You look at AI. You look at the computers. I mean, this is just how everything's moving. It's just things are getting faster and all that. So
demand.
FLW was a lot of fun though. I enjoyed it over there. That was a lot of
great
fun.
times. That was great times.
Oh yeah.
Hey, this is a real good question. It's about practice too, boys. And this is from Eddie Endicott. And he says, Scott, when you start practicing on a lake, do you fish by history first and then fish it as a new lake, or vice versa?
Well, on our schedule, we typically have a few events that are new lakes to me. So my practice is typically I do whatever research I can. I have somewhat of a game plan, or at least I envision how I think I'm going to end up fishing the tournament. But day one of practice usually really consists of I'm a little bit of a sprayed roach. I'm like a sprayed roach running around out there in the lake. I have 20 rods on the deck of my boat. My game plan sometimes is kind of out the window for a little bit. I just fish my gut for a little while. I I kind of like some of these anglers that I know on tour. They pull up to a lake the first day of practice, and they're dialed in. They're catching fish. They already basically know what they're going to do, and the rest is history. And me, it's like I don't usually figure it out till, like halfway through day two or day one or the third day. You know what I'm saying? I never figured out on day one, and so I kind of even eliminate things. I actually don't mind eliminating water. Like a lot of times people say, "Oh, I didn't catch a fish, the last 3 or 4 hours. That really stinks. That was a bad practice." To me, that's not a bad practice. To me, that's me eliminating some possibilities, and allows me to focus on what I end up finding in the tournament or in practice. I can focus on it with more focus instead of being spun out and trying to run too many things. So eliminating practice to me is almost as important as finding a good area to fish.
Okay, I like it. Excellent. Okay, we got time for one more here. This is from Joseph Hilsenhoff, Straight Cast viewer. Says, does Scott have any stories about Pat
McAvoy?
Pat McAvoy. Sorry, Roland's old friend, Pat McAvoy.
I'm trying to think who that is.
I don't know.
I know the name.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't have any stories about that. I don't. That's a curveball one on that one. But I know the name. How do I know the name?
I do too. And is that was he one of the OG Durbers? I don't know.
Man, I'm at a loss. I know the name, and I can't. I don't know. That's
go ahead. Go tell us about it.
Yeah, I don't know that. I know the name. I'm having a hard time with that.
All right, I got one that I gotta ask. Chris Deuce wants to know, how did you survive Pat as a marshal?
We had a great time. I mean, it started off right out of the gate, so that was good. He was fired up, and
I'm a time, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. I'm a damn good time.
We were ribbing each other all day back and forth. It was
and Scott said, "Hey, we got to do this again." So it was I was a good time.
That's right. That's right.
Patty the rabbit back. That's right.
A lot of people caught him with Pat in the boat. Last year,
because I bring the energy, bud. I bring
that. It's true.
I bring the positivity. I'm there to have a good time, and I enjoy bass fishing. And believe me, I'm happier than a pig and shit to be in a boat with a professional bass angler,
right?
Soaking it all up, man.
So I got a question for you, Pat. Since you're asking me questions, okay?
Yeah, bud, hit me.
So I got a question for you. So of all the days that you spent on the water with different people.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't a loaded question, so I don't need you to say my name.
Okay.
But you've spent a lot of great days. What was the most magical day that you've ever spent with an angler?
Gosh, it's got to be Fritz, because we were on Seminole, and as you know, that was Dave's last year on the Elites, and he just wasn't having a very good year, and things were getting a little tough for David, and he returned to the spot where he had won the Seminole event on a plug years back. I can't remember the year, but man, he went out there and he was cranking that Ghost Red Fritz flat side crankbait on braided line, Scott, and a glass rod and a 5-to-1 reel
with no anti-reverse,
and just laughing giddy. catching 4-pounders. He brought in, I think, 23 4-pounds that day. And he was so happy. It was one of the best days that I've ever had on the water with somebody just because he was so happy. It was really cool.
That is special. That's
and
special.
you need to know that Pat is an absolute crankbait psycho. So that's another reason.
And to watch how he would fish that crankbait through, because the stumps like on Seminole had grass. So he had to finesse that crankbait through the grass, bang it into the stump, and then just they'd load up on it. And he'd say, he wouldn't say, oh, they were in the gullet. He'd say, I got him in the guzzle. He ate it right in the guzzle. Yeah.
That is so funny.
Yeah, David Fritz. And of course, like everything when I'm with Clun, I've been with Clun multiple times in the boat and everything I just soak up. But you know who's just a sick angler? I mean, doesn't seem to do wrong? That Greg Hackney. Even when he's doing wrong, I don't know. He's just doing right.
That's right. No, he's definitely magical for sure. There's some magical anglers out there.
You know who's the most spun out ever? Matthew Robertson.
Yeah. That's funny. And you know who's the most confused great angler? The one that's just like has no idea how that happened. And I know you're going to guess the right.
From my personal experience, it's John Cox.
Yes.
Because I was running down Pickwick, same derp that you and I were together on there. Yeah, I'm running down Pickwick with him in practice. I practiced with him, and he's cruising down the lake, and he's like, we literally ran 40 minutes, Scott, 40 minutes. And he said, "Oh no, Pat." And I'm like, "What happened? Something wrong with the boat?" "No, I thought we were on Kentucky Lake. This spot's not even on this lake." 40-minute ride.
Yeah.
Looking for clear water.
That's awesome.
Oh, he's funny. Yeah. We roomed together for a year. And, man, you know, I would ask him, we'd all sit around and tell stories about fishing and whatnot and kind of share a little information or whatever. And he just was, I would see him launch his boat in the morning where we launched. And then later on in the afternoon, I would see him going over a bridge in his truck at noon, and then back up the river the other side. And he would do 3 or 4 boat ramps in a day, and he just wouldn't have a clue. Like he would say, "I didn't catch anything. I don't know what I'm going to do. This is terrible." And then he would almost win the tournament every time.
It's nuts,
crazy.
And I'm gonna help you out with that right now, because he said something to me that really stuck. And he said to me, he said, "Pat, all these people are just figuring out that all these fish live in the middle of the lake." He goes, "I'm a shallow water fisherman, but I know they live in the middle of the lake. I just know when they come up." That's what he said.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, bud.
That's right.
Plain and simple. Hey, speaking of plain and simple, this was a dang good time tonight, man. A plain old good time tonight, Scott.
Appreciate it. Good time. Absolutely, guys.
I like it. Let's give away let's give away a prize. We're giving away a George Foreman grill from Scott's Kitchen. Still works if you bang on it a little. You got to hit it like 3 times and it turns.
You got to hold the power cable just to the side, just a little bit.
And then he's giving away a lose reel for frogging, loaded with braid.
It's one of my OG Akumas right here. This is a really good Akuma Helios.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, this is one of my OG. This is one of my tournament reels from back in the day.
Oh, is that the one you rolled the boat in with?
Yeah, exactly.
That's outstanding. All right, so that's a Akuma reel, a vintage that Scott's giving away. So we're putting it through the randomizer. Will you be able to text it to Scotty, Andy, or JR? Let's see.
He's got it.
I saw that. Here, let me figure out how that works.
Drum roll? What do you want? Drum roll, or you want medieval times? If you do medieval, you got to talk like a medieval guy, Scott.
Yeah.
You ready? You want it? You want trumpets, or you want drum rolls?
Hang on, let me pull it up again real quick. Okay, there we go. All right, drum roll. You ready?
Got it. All right. The winner is
Jeff Murray is the winner. Jeff Murray.
Heck yeah! You have won a Scott Martin Okuma vintage reel.
That's pretty badass.
Back in the
actually.
yeah, it really is
That's
cool.
really
And he
cool.
actually reeled a boat in with that. And what else did they win?
The braid that came on it. That's some special braid.
That's right, there it is, right there. That's special braid. They didn't even make that shit no more. That's some good
Yeah, this
stuff.
is back. Like the one guy said, I've had a tough 5 years of fishing. So this was back when I used to catch them. It's a special reel.
It is that. Hey, you better hold on to that, man. I don't know, bud. You better keep it in the boat.
Yeah.
All right. And Scott, I know you entered this one. I don't know if you won or not, but Ryan, who is the official winner of the Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey?
The winner of the Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey Fun Box is Luke Mickle.
Luke Mickle.
Mickle. M-I-C-K.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay,
Luke
both of you lucky winners, just direct message J.R. Ewing, Rock and Show Fantasy at the Stray Cast Facebook page, and we're gonna get you out your prizes. Thank you so much, everybody that viewed tonight and liked and shared. And Scott, thank you for another cool show, dude. We always have a good time, man. We always
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it very much, and appreciate everybody watching the podcast. And we're gonna have a good year this year. We're gonna have
Ryan and I
we're gonna make it happen.
Challenge you to come beat our asses in Chicago.
Yes.
We challenge you, Scott Martin, to come beat us.
It's an official challenge.
Official
Lake
challenge.
Michigan, Chicago.
Yes.
I heard it's good up there. It's at times. I heard it's good.
You don't come in the spring or the end of the year.
Spring and fall.
Spring and fall. That's for sure. You'll
It'll be
love
great.
it. And we'll challenge it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Hey, thanks again. See you soon in Florida, and best of luck. You got a job to do, Scott. You got a job to do.
That's right. That's right.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Good luck, Scott. Thank
Roland Martin, right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ryan, another show.
Another show.
Another show. And
good stuff.
I'm off to the Elites next week.
Yeah. When are you going?
I leave Monday.
Nice.
Yeah. Heading
Nice.
out to St. Juan's. The St. Juan and then to Okeechobee.
I'm excited to watch those tournaments.
Yeah, I can't wait, dude.
On the liveage.
The 2025 Elite Series. Hey, and then of course, check us out on Behind the Tanks on the Bassmaster YouTube.
Moultrie Mobile.
Moultrie Mobile, Behind the Tanks. Guess what? Coming up in a few days. Bassmaster Elite Series 2025 kicks off. Hey, next week on Straycast, we got something cool worked up for you. You'll just have to wait and see. But until then, we shall keep sailing this thin raft of bass. And thank you so much to Omnia Fishing, Sims Fishing, Bob's Machine Shop, Impulse Lithium Batteries, Power Pole, Tin Cup Mountain Whiskey, Berkeley Fishing, Abu Garcia, Waterland Sunglasses, and of course, those new kids on the block,
Mad Science Print Lab.
That's right. One soda pop. Hey, I'm Pat Renwick. I bid you peace, and peace I bid you. That's Ryan Popcorn Whitaker. And this has been an Andrew Ellenberg Ginger Ninja production. Peace. See you next time, Bass Galaxy. Yeah.